Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pet Food Puzzle Guy. I'm Glenn, and a shout out to all my fellow veterans. It's Veterans Day, at least Veterans Day week, so I just want to acknowledge all my fellow veterans. It was a lifetime ago, seems for me, but I was a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne and very gung-ho patriotic young man in my day. So, but again, that was a lifetime ago. Ronald Reagan was my commander-in-chief. That gives you an idea how far back. That was in the early 1980s. So anyway, welcome back to the channel. I want to tell you that I've been looking around at other foods. Mostly I don't look, they pop up on my Facebook page. And found this one, Petcurian. It's a company out of Canada, and they've been around for about 20 years, they say, and they're selling to 30 different countries. And so I thought, well, let's try something a little different than all the big names that we all know, and we just check out this food. And it's a company that has 4 brands, and I always kind of find it interesting. You know, nutrition's pretty, here's optimal nutrition as far as that company sees it. So to have all these multiple brands, you know, like Purina, it's a little weird. It's like you have good brands then, and you have ones that aren't as good. But to me, you have one brand for your wellness line and one brand if you have a therapeutic line. Other than that, now you're just getting into marketing. So we'll take a look at these 4 brands and see what you guys think. And again, it's from Canada, and I had no idea anything about it, so I'm kind of learning as you are with this one, and we'll see how it goes. But this company has four brands, and again, I mentioned Go, Now, the other one is Summit, and the other one is Gather. So I think their website, if I have that picture, shows all 4 brands. And I thought, well, let me just check this out. I'm not familiar with a company that has 4 brands out of Canada, so let's take a look. And again, you know, my whole shtick is what? Which one is the healthiest, not which one is the best or has the best ingredient panel. But best, I guess you could say, really would be the healthiest, the one that is promoting good health and reducing the risk of disease. I know I sound like a broken record, but it is important that we understand when we hear all this conversation about this is best and that's better and this is the best, blah, blah, blah. It all comes down to what is healthiest for my animal. That really is what matters. So anyway, so I will tell you, let me just put Go up here. And Go is a diet that it's not grain-free. It has different meat meals in it, and the distinction between Go and Now has no meat meals. It only has fresh meat. So there's the distinction there, which I found kind of interesting. Same company, same nutritional philosophy, but they're saying if you want meals, we have Go. If you want fresh meat, we have Now. So, but that's their claim to fame with those 2. And again, you know me, which one actually is healthiest, which one has the better nutrient profile. Summit is another brand, and of course it says all the same things, great ingredients and, you know, scientifically formulated, all this good stuff. But I couldn't find a real distinction to that one, maybe just some different ingredients, you know, different flavors. And then there's Gather. And Gather is their brand that is organic and all natural, and it really goes down that organic marketing avenue. And I'll show that bag as well. So there's 4 different ones, and again, you can go to their website, and it's very scientific. They boast the fact they have all these pet nutritionists that help formulate these diets. So when we're talking about that positioning of where does a company go with science or nature, I would say they definitely are more toward the science end, but they still keep the all-natural idea there. But I would put these guys in a category of more of a scientific type approach with all their nutritionists and such. So let's real quick, I'm going to put up the 4 brands and look at their nutrients real quick. Okay, so let me pull out my little black book here. And so Petcurian is the name of the food company again, and it sounds like some kind of Roman centurion or something, but Anyway, they're out of Canada, and it's kind of funny on their website. You could win a trip to Banff, a free trip to Banff. I didn't go to look at the details, but Banff is beautiful. We've been there, and we did a road trip up to Banff. It was 30-hour one-way road trip, and I think we saw like 30 bears in the time that we went up there, and glaciers. It's beautiful. So anyway, back to subject at hand. So we have now Summit, Go, and Gather, and I think the easiest thing to do is just blast the numbers out here, and then we could go through them. So here you go. I'm going to put them all up there. Lots of numbers here. If you guys have been following my channel, you're used to looking at lots of numbers, right? So keep in mind, this is one company. So this is their different brands within that company. We're not competing companies or anything like that. And let's just see how they do here. So if we look at protein across the board, now comes in 7.4 grams. Summit actually drops a little to 6.9. Go is 6.7. And Gather, the organic version, comes in at 8.2. So Summit and Go are what I would consider really nice protein levels. Now is starting to inch up away. And Gather is definitely going into the high protein level that, if you know anything about me, that's pretty excessive and unnecessary. But so there's the protein levels. And again, you all know, I hope you don't get bored with, we can only talk nutrition. That's what I do on this channel. So for you new folks, we always look at calcium and phosphorus, because that reveals the quality of the meat sources. If there's a lot of bone, hair, hoof, feathers, chicken lips, whatever you want to call it, dirt, it will show up in the calcium and phosphorus level. If it's nice and low, that meat source is high quality, and that food company is looking out to protect those kidneys and that liver, and that's great, because those excess minerals can really wreak havoc on a dog and cat as they age. And again, it reveals the quality of the meat sources, not just, oh, we use the best, whatever. Show me the nutrients and I'll know whether you're using the best or not. So I'm sure you're already looking, as I've been blabbing here. We have now coming in at 376 milligrams of calcium, phosphorus at 213. And again, I always say numbers sound great or look great until you compare them to other numbers. Then they actually really look good, or they really start to look bad. So there we have now Summit with a little bit of a lower protein number. Look at their calcium and phosphorus. The calcium actually goes up to 408, and the phosphorus goes up to 291. So now what does this tell us right off the bat? Here's a lower protein diet in Summit, but the mineral content is higher. So whatever meat sources they're using, I don't even have to look at an ingredient panel to know, okay, I don't really like this food as much as now, because you're providing enough protein. I'm fine with 6.9 grams, but look at the mineral content that's being delivered from that protein. So right there, the quality is not the same. We're going into the excess levels of minerals there. So right away, we can kind of see a difference between those two diets. Then we have Go. Go is the same protein level as Summit, and we see, what do we see? Calcium and phosphorus level. Well, the calcium comes down. That's nice. Phosphorus levels is a little higher than now. Instead of 213, it's going up to 257. So again, this is all dependent on the meat sources or the protein sources in this food. And then we look at Gather, the organic food, and what do we find? The calcium and phosphorus is pretty decent. It's right in the middle of the road there, which is pretty impressive. Why? Because look at how high the protein is, and they're still able to maintain a pretty good calcium phosphorus level. So that's pretty interesting, and that's nutrition, guys. That's I don't need to look at the ingredient panels, because the ingredients just show me. Well, actually, don't show me anything, to be honest. That's what the pet food marketers use to manipulate based on weight, and the vague definitions from AFCO lead me wondering what exactly is this stuff. But show me the nutrients and I'll know whether it's healthy and whether it's high quality. So again, just looking at that right there, what do you guys think? You're the buyer here. You're the one deciding what you're feeding your pet. I don't like Gather because of the high protein number, so that one is probably out. I guess we should finish with sodium. If you look at the sodium across the board, we have two that are in the 80s. Summit is 93, and then Gather is 130 milligrams. So I'm going to say right now, Gather is out. I don't like the high protein number, don't like the high sodium number. I don't think I need to look at them. When I look at the other three, I definitely like the protein at 6.9 and 6.7, but Summit, with that high calcium and phosphorus ratio, or not ratio, but number, that's it. That one's off the board. That would actually be my fourth choice of all four of these, right? It just makes sense. Why is it so excessive in minerals when the protein level is actually pretty low? So Summit's out. Again, Gather, I'd rather not. So it really comes down to Now and Go. And so again, when I look at them, Go, I like the protein level, the calcium they win, and then phosphorus, unfortunately, boy, I wish this was consistent. The phosphorus goes a little higher in Go. And sodium levels are the same. So, boy, that's a real tough one. Phosphorus is really more critical to a dog that's going into early stage renal failure, before you even know what's going on. He's 8, 9 years old, and it may be a few years before you see any signs. That's when I really want good controlled mineral levels and protein at an optimal level. So I'm kind of stuck between, do I go with a lower protein number but a little higher phosphorus, or do I go with Now that has a little higher protein but a lower phosphorus? Anybody guess what I'm going to do if you've watched enough of my videos? I am going to go with Now. It's a little higher in protein, but much like Farmina, that was higher in protein, the mineral content, especially the phosphorus, was nice and restricted. Protein's not a bad thing, okay? And I'm sure all the carnivore people out there would agree with me. Optimal is best. Anything over that, yeah, you're taxing the kidneys, you're having to, for the body to work on that. But if we're controlling the phosphorus within that protein, it's really not that bad. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm looking at this. If I had to feed one of these foods, it would be Now instead of Go, and Summit and Gather would not even be, I wouldn't even consider it. Now let's look at the, I don't know why I did this, but I did the vitamin E levels just because I had one company with their 4 brands, and their website is great. It gives all their actuals, which is very impressive for a food company. I would make it by law that they all have to do what these guys do on their website. That would be awesome. You wouldn't need me anymore. You wouldn't come watch my videos because you'd be able to do it yourself. But anyway, vitamin E, the antioxidant. Let's see how we do here. Now has 48 international units. Summit has 46. Go has 45. So they're all basically the same. And there's Gather with a little higher number of 52. Not really sure why, but again, I don't like Gather due to the really high protein number. But definitely Summit would be the last one I would pick out of these 4. How about the cost per pound? Kind of interesting. I'm going to feed Now, which is $4.14 a pound. There's Summit, which again we don't really like very much from a health standpoint. It's only $2.07 a pound. So maybe that's an indication, one of those times where you get where you pay for, what you pay for. Yeah, definitely it's only worth $2 a pound. It's definitely not worth $4 a pound. And then Go comes in at $3.60, so that's a little less than Now. And the Now at $4.14 is along lines of Origin. Origin was $4 a pound. And there's Gather, the organic product. Now, again, big surprise. You're putting organic ingredients in there. Their website really goes into explaining where they vet their suppliers and how much work and effort they put into all those organic ingredients that they're getting. They come in at $6.13 a pound, which again, I'm not surprised. But based on the cost, based on the nutrient levels, based on the micronutrients and the macro, looking at protein, Now wins the contest within the Petcurian product line, their 4 brands. So I hope that is helpful. This one's going to be a little shorter than normal. How about that? Glenn's actually going to try to make a short video. Hey, I just want to thank everybody, the whole community of people. I hope you know who you are. Those of you that regularly have comments, I really love it. A lot of you new folks have written and asked about different diets, and I really do try to keep up. Somebody had asked about PetSmart's authority, and I'm working on that one. Not getting very far with them, to be honest. And also Pet Supplies Plus and Petco's, their brands. So I am trying. These companies are not always the most cooperative. Uh, and I call myself the pet food puzzle guy because I'm always doing puzzles and how we take all the different pieces of pet food marketing, like pieces of a puzzle, and put them together to give you a clearer picture. And I haven't been showing you the puzzles that I've been accomplishing. So, in honor of Christmas, here's my Rudolph puzzle that I just finished the other night. And I am a big Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer fan. Of course, as a kid, I watched it every year, and now I'm showing it to my grandkids. So everybody loves that cartoon. So I had to do that puzzle. And the next one that I just started, that's down here, and I don't even have the frame done yet. Of course, is going to be a bunch of dogs. So that's fitting for the pet food puzzle guy. So anyway, just figured I'd let you know how I'm doing with the puzzles. I think I've definitely been doing many more videos than puzzles, but hopefully that's a good thing. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for spending time with me. I really do appreciate it. I'm really enjoying it. So you all take care.